Good morning, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing a video to you on a subject that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know, and this is an important video. Hopefully not a long video, but I'm going to cover something of very large importance, I think, to myself and hopefully other people. I think probably everyone cares a little bit about this subject, and that is sexualization of people and content in the media, and some trade-offs, some non-obvious trade-offs between lifestyles and choices that we make collectively and individually. So not to get too much into the description and right into the content, the issue at hand, the one I want to cover here, is connected to substances. And I'm going to make that connection very clear in just a second here. Substances being, in this part of the world, in America, in the state of California where I live, it's legal to purchase, grow, and consume recreational marijuana. Just as an aside, hold that thought just for a second. It's illustrative of the atmosphere. It is a recreational substance supportive atmosphere, if nothing else, with evidence. That's the evidence for it. And in the same vein, alcohol has been legal in every part of this country, as far as I know, except for, local jurisdictions that have banned it between certain hours, such as Salt Lake City, etc. And I don't want to get into that, but since the early part of the 20th century, when it was abolition was repealed. Excuse me, not abolition, prohibition. two different subjects. Prohibition was repealed. That is to say, it was illegal. Alcohol was illegal at one point, and then it became legal again because it was unenforceable. I'll cover this word, unenforceable. There was so much backlash from making alcohol illegal that organized crime exploded because there was so much demand for bootleg alcohol by any means necessary. People were so addicted to it and they wanted it so badly that it was uncontrollable. So the powers that be, the infrastructure, the administration, had no choice. Due to popular demand, they repealed prohibition. Okay, so some of this is obvious. A lot of people know this already, but I want to connect this with the subject of sexualization because there's a very deep connection. Why was alcohol made illegal to begin with? A lot of reasons, right? It's objectively unhealthy to a lot of people. I mean, I can't say that you make better decisions being drunk. You might, find it pleasurable. You might find it social pliant, or a solvent. It gets you in the mood to be social at parties. There's a lot of reasons people drink, but one thing it definitely does is it impairs you. And this is a very famous objective fact about alcohol. It impairs your judgment, which means, bottom line, again, short video, you have a choice to make, a very distinct trade-off where the alcohol that you permit, that you allow, that you accept into your culture and your society has the express displacement of integration of youth. You cannot be around young people while you cannot make decisions, while you are no longer responsible for your decisions. And this is something that people tend to overlook. They conveniently ignore this fact, and we don't talk about it too much. We say, well, if you do something wrong while you're drunk, you should have thought about that before you drank. Is that even a realistic or reasonable expectation? And I don't want to dive down that rabbit hole, but the bottom line is people can't control themselves. They actually measurably do not control themselves. And if you don't believe me, spend some time in the courtrooms and just ask yourself, how many of the people who are tried for criminal crimes and convicted are connected in some way with substances, including and especially alcohol? Pretty much all of them. So whether it's the chicken or the egg, I'm not even saying. There's a connection. There's a correlation between substances, in particular alcohol, and people acting badly. Now, back to the subject, sexualization. I want to talk about how this culture has marginalized the youth out of necessity because of our acceptance are choosing to have accepted alcohol into mainstream society. It is understood, it is a foregone conclusion that in many places, most places, you cannot just expect things to be safe for young people. We have adult areas, we have adult levels of service, we have adult accounts, and it's because this style of living, that is to say, one in which people are routinely damaged and treated recklessly without any culpability, without any responsibility, because their responsibility many times is formally recognized to not exist, because these places are prevalent. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not preaching. I'm not saying you are making a wrong choice. I mean, I may feel that way, but that's not the point here. The point is that people aren't talking about this. They don't understand the trade-off. Understand, at the least, understand what you're doing, the choice that you're making to compartmentalize all the young people and the effect that that's going to have on society in a circular fashion. I want to say that again. When you make a choice to compartmentalize, to marginalize, and say children can just exist in facilities until they're of age where we don't have to worry about it on a criminal level. I'm going to be a vampire, and I'm going to get drunk as an adult because it pleases me, and I'm going to let some licensed professional raise the kids until I don't have to worry about them anymore. And I don't want to see them until then because it's inconvenient. It's harsh on my buzz. So they're going to be behind this walled facility with armed guards, and it's going to be from kindergarten until they're 18 years old, at which point I'm just going to assume that they're all ready to fuck. If you'll pardon my expression, that's where we're at, and I don't like it. I feel strongly about this. And I feel it's having a disastrous effect, not just on the kids, because they tend to grow up. That's the thing, right? It has an effect eventually on our entire society. So here's your connection. Here's your connection. The trade-off between compartmentalizing youth, failing to integrate them, that is segregating them, being biased in a discriminatory way against them so that you can partake and indulge in your vices and relieve yourself, to unburden yourself of responsibility every day, right? It's a daily thing usually. All right, well, you don't want to talk about it? Well, we'll just fix it. We're going to go ahead and fix it by any means necessary. And we don't have to talk about it because democracy has already spoken on this issue. Back in the 20th century, democracy tried to speak on this issue, and it didn't work. We already made our decision. We already asked the people what was best. We just couldn't make it happen back then. We were unable to enforce it. But the principles have not changed. All that's changed now is we have an entire world full of damaged young people, and not for the reasons that you think. Reach out with questions or comments to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you.